Historical Reconstruction of Aryan X.
Episode 84, Munwang of the Ju Dynasty. Munwang, or King Mun, of the Ju Dynasty was the hero who laid the foundation for his son, Muwang, or King Mu, to destroy the imperial state Sang dynasty and pacify the world. 1. Chang of Sobek. When Gongye died, his son Chang stood as the successor. This is Sobek, or Chief of the West. Sobek was called Munwang. He followed the legacy of Juyeok and Gongryu and modeled his laws after Gogong and Gongye, practicing benevolent politics earnestly. Sunghuho Tiger Marquis of Sung slandered Sobek to Juwang, King Ju of the imperial state In dynasty, saying, Sobek of the Ju dynasty performs good deeds and accumulates virtue, so all the feudal lords follow him. This will not be beneficial to the monarch. Therefore, Juwang of the imperial state In dynasty immediately imprisoned Sobek in the fortress of Urili. Goengyo and other subjects of Sobek, worried about him, presented beauties from the Yusin Shi clan, dappled horses from Yuryang, and 9 chariots drawn by 4 horses from Yuyang, along with other strange and precious items to the Emperor Juwang of the imperial state In dynasty through the favored treacherous courtier Bijong. Juwang was greatly pleased and said, just one of these items is enough to release Sobek, yet how are there so many? He immediately pardoned Sobek and bestowed on him a bow, arrows, and a large ox, granting him the authority to conquer feudal lords. When Sobek passed away, Crown Prince Bal ascended the throne. This is Muwang, or King Mu, of the Ju dynasty. 2. Juyeok. Juyeok, or Changes of Ju, refers to the art of divination of the Ju dynasty. It is said that Munwang of the Ju dynasty was the one who created the 64 gua, or hexagrams of the Juyeok, the foundation of Eastern thought. Quoting from the Daoim Encyclopedia, Sobek of the Ju dynasty reigned for generally 50 years. It is considered that he expanded the 8 gua, or trigrams of the yek, or changes, into 64 gua while he was imprisoned in the Uri fortress of the imperial state In dynasty. Poets say that the year he received the mandate of heaven and claimed the title of king was when he resolved the lawsuit between Yu and Ye. 10 years later, when he passed away, his posthumous title was called Munwang. He reformed the laws and established the calendar. Munwang of the Ju dynasty was the person who solidified the foundation so that Muwang could plan for the world, and even authored the contents of Juyeok, the core of Eastern thought. 3. Seijo Yen Yui. Taking this opportunity, I will quote a scene from Seijo Yen Yui, or Romance of the Western Jew, published by Yihui Cultural History, depicting the moment when Sobek Munwang of the Ju dynasty was released from being imprisoned for 7 years in the Uri fortress of the imperial state In dynasty and returned to his feudal state. Walking alone towards the east, he arrived at a house as the day set and his pockets were empty. As he hesitated in front of a tavern, the shopkeeper came out and said, "Passing traveler, please come into this station and rest for a while." He went in and brought alcohol and side dishes. Munwang thanked him, saying, "As I arrived in this land, the sun set and I ran out of noja, or travel expenses. I intended to shamelessly borrow a bowl of rice from the owner, but you brought out food first. When I return to my destination, Seigi, I will surely repay this grace." However, the shopkeeper got angry and said, "This place is different from other taverns. How can you speak such narrow words? We heard that Munwang of the Ju dynasty teaches all people with In-yi, or benevolence and righteousness, and the people of the western lands all shout that it is a Taepyeong Sangdae, or great era of peace. Some time ago, General Tai of Seigi passed through this land and taught us to practice In-yi. We are all moved by Munwang, so we do not do wrong things, and if a poor person passes by, we relieve them with compassion. How could we think of your repayment? I hear that you might be a person of Segi. Please make sure to report to the country that we are acting out of gratitude for Munwang's virtue." Then he took out dozens of silver taels and gave them to him. Munwang, grateful, said, "I will not betray what the owner has said and his kindness." He showed extreme courtesy. The shopkeeper saw Munwang's polite manners and thought, "This man is old, yet how are his actions so polite and extraordinary?" and said, "I wish you would tell me your Jeonsang daemyeong, or honorable name." Munwang corrected his expression and said, "I am none other than Sobek Sabek. I was imprisoned in the Yuri fortress of the imperial state in Dynasty for 7 years, and now I am returning by the imperial grace." He added, "Due to the merit of my youngest son, Lei Jinja, I passed 5 passes and reached this land. My travel funds ran out and I looked destitute, but you treated me generously. I will not forget this grace on another day." Hearing these words, the shopkeeper hurriedly came down, bowed 100 times, or godu baibe, and said, "I pray the great king forgives the sin of this small person. If you stay here briefly, your servant will gather the villagers to ensure the great king returns in peace." Munwang asked him, "What is your name?" The shopkeeper replied, "This small person's name is Shin Kyol, and I have lived here for 5 generations." Munwang was greatly pleased and said, "If you send me on a horse, I will heavily repay that merit on another day." Shin Kyol said, "How could there be a horse in a small subject's house? However, I have 1 donkey, so I will let the great king ride it, and I will personally escort you." Munwang was greatly delighted. Passing Kimgyure and passing Suyangsan, they traveled the road at dawn. How was it? Was there a little emotion? Whenever I read this passage, I feel a stirring in my heart. A human life, a man's life, is about such loyal faith meeting each other, risking one's life for one's Lord and for one's people. A man can willingly sacrifice his life for someone who recognizes him. That is the center of human history. Suyangsan that Munwang of the Ju Dynasty passed is indeed Geumgangsan, the spiritual mountain of the world. 4. The destination of Munwang. The place where the imperial state in existed was Hanyang and Jang'an, where the emperor's fortress was. The text above describes the process of Munwang of the Ju Dynasty, the master of the Westland, Sobek, being imprisoned there for 7 years, then released and going to the place where the Grand Papal Court, his fief, was. Shuyang, or head son, which Munwang of the Ju Dynasty passed, is the place name where the Grand Papal Court, the head and eldest of the world, was located. This place was the soul or capital in history. In the next episode, I will reveal Munwang, or King Mu, of the Ju Dynasty, who destroyed the imperial state Sang Dynasty. Please refer to the attached blog for details regarding the YouTube video release schedule and titles, as well as the title and table of contents of the prepared book. Please see the link at www.blog.naver.com/GOKIMI Garcia.